ways to solve it, and all different, but they always went back to the core of what their people needed, of a passion to make a change, and they did, you know. So that we should always remember that all things work to the good of those who love the Lord, failures into triumphs. So then working at Data Bank throughout the period and feeling really great about that job. And I guess God telling you that, you know, it's time to move. I created this job for you, and me resisting it. So I got embolism, that is some blood clots in my lungs, and therefore had to go to hospital. And during that period was when I said, well, you know, you have to quit. Quit to do what? You have to quit. You are refusing, you are making this part of you that you created it. And the country was also going really down. And that's when I decided to join the president to see whether we can put a plan together to come into government. And that's what happened in that time. So we've come into government, we've seen how things are going, we tried to do your best, and then COVID came. So also got hit with COVID, and then post-COVID, and during that post-COVID period, was also begin then to ask myself critical questions. Is this all that you are meant to do, or is there more that you had to do? And the realization of the first love, how do you get a financial superstructure that's good? How do you get the youth to be able to have the skill set to save the nation into the future? So we are here to do that with a commitment that the people at the helm care deeply, understand the difficulties of life, and it's really not been one of a silver spoon being fed, even though it may look like it, but a deep understanding, empathy, appreciation, and knowing entrepreneurship is difficult, life is difficult, but the policies are geared towards creating economic emancipation of freedom such that the youth will thrive. The numbers are just overwhelming, and there's nothing more important for us to do than to ensure that you are successful. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and Godspeed.
Everyone is unique, even twins, and that's why with MTN Just For You, you get voice, data, and SMS packages uniquely designed for you. Dial *141# or select your options on the My MTN app to discover your unique Just For You.
Almost said your virtual university. Springboard Roadshow virtual convocation, and a round of applause for Ken Oforiatta for those thoughts. And that last bit about the story of his life was for many people, if I may say so, Ken, for many people on the Springboard Dialogues in Tamale and Sunyani, the highlight because it brought home to them the reality that life is about small beginnings. Thank you so much, Ken, for using your story to inspire the young people. Let's put ours together one more time. So let me, before I share your questions, let me go to Selim and start with something that Ken said. Paul Ken catches his breath a little. So in his last submission, he left us with 6 R's for the young people. And let me just reiterate them, just so I can ask you to comment on one of them. So he left off with 6 R's. Reflect on your purpose is number 1. Research opportunities, number 2. Reach for the change that will transform a financial future was number 3. Be resilient in the face of challenges was number 4. Responsibly use social media and technology to add value to your business was number 5. And then rise to the very top in what you aspire to was number 6. Selim, I kind of found all these 6 in your message in a sense. Which one would be your favorite?
Wow, it's hard to pick a favorite because combination, that's really what, I mean, that's really the message we're trying to share with the youth. And I think, you know, Honorable Ken has really enumerated those very clearly. But let me start with, you know, the resilience is one that I was just having a chat with Kafui about. Something that I said in 2019, which she repeated this morning, which was about the expectation of the youth today. About immediacy and the sentiments that social media has built into youth, where the stamina to be resilient is no longer there because everything happens so instantaneously that people just don't have that stamina anymore. If I try and it doesn't happen, I very quickly give up or I change course. So for me, the resilience is absolutely critical because it's very relevant to the youth of today because there is a sense that that has been lost. I talked about this in this morning's talk about the stamina and the stamina to stay the course. And again, it's exactly the same message about knowing that if you really believe in something, you have to stay the course. You get back, you stop and start. To Honorable Ken's story about LEAP and the source of, again, it emphasizes that same story, that the fact that the central bank wasn't able to give the support didn't stop them from proceeding. They had the stamina to continue to stay the course, and the outcome is obvious today. Thank you.
Let me stay with you and then explore one more theme. He talked about social media, using it productively. You are a technology person, you understand the game in and out. How critical is this as an enabler for young people seeking to explore business opportunities?
Well, let me look at it from the angle of relevance. At any point in time, you have to work towards maintaining relevance. Social media is what is relevant today. So as a business person, if you're not leveraging the power of social media, then you're at risk of not being relevant. So for me, that's really the way I want to look at it, to say it's almost not an option for most businesses. There might be very unique business that can do without it, but for the most part, you need it to be relevant. And if you're not relevant, then you're probably going to struggle.
So, Salam, the new factors of production are land, labor, capital, and social media.
Absolutely.
All right, let me go to you, Ken. The theme of purpose seemed to be at the centerpiece of both presentations. And Salam started with it. You ended with it by saying that at the end of everything, you go back to exactly what is the purpose of your life. And the 6 R's started with purpose. You talk about your purpose being going back to your first love, which is inspiring young people and challenging them to be the very best that they can be. Let's tie this to your work as finance minister and to policy. How do you hope to use policy to back this your desire to see young entrepreneurs coming out in their numbers across the country?
Thank you. I mean, Albert, I think the data is just palpable, and maybe it has been that we have not looked at the data so that youth and the numbers become the central reason for which, you know, we have policy. So if 75% of our people are below the age of 35, I mean, clearly there has to be a policy direction which makes that sort of the overarching theme, and then the various enablers to make sure that they are most productive, they have economic freedom, they can create their own jobs, and they can lead a purposeful life. So that then becomes the policy drive. So you talk about technology and skills, you talk about financial landscape, you know, and then you make sure that the issues of values, etc., are contemplated. So you look at the Ghana Beyond Aid, for example, and there are clearly 3 pillars. The first being one of sort of character, discipline, values that Selim also mentioned, will be one leg as a people. Then you have the issue of us as a nation accepting sort of a broad consensus of where we are going so that we discuss and argue on the margins, not on every issue, because then we won't move forward. And then the third leg is economic transformation, which is the Ghana Cares Obatampa program. How do we then ensure that these three legs, are moving in a way that will bring purpose to where the nation has to go, and we individually will inculcate it. I mean, I did meet with the hashtag Fix Ghana. I've met twice already with the leaders, and I just started by saying, I presume that all of this is for the benefit of the Republic, in which we all agree, and I can think no other way. The question then is, how do we proceed to be able to ensure that the Republic stands? Is it by a demonstration? And what happens if that turns into an Arab Spring? Is that the only way for us to go? How do you ensure social distancing? Other things that we are doing to make sure. But even with all of these difficulties for the youth, have we also looked at ourselves as part of the problem? And if that's not part of what we are talking about, then we are not going anywhere. It's not a government that's in the hospital. It's not a government that is in the police. So what is it that we do as a people to tackle those problems? And what is it that government must also do to do that? So it's holistic and it's purposeful. And I think that kind of honesty of ourselves then enables us to build a greater nation.
Thank you very much. I'll come to you, Selim. One of the things that I can say for sure rattled many people was when you honestly admitted that you walked away from a very huge salary to relocate to what was not even half of what you were earning earlier. Those figures can be very scary. What would you say to a young person asking, was that not too much risk? Is it worth taking that kind of step? What would you say to a young person asking that question?
Hello? Okay.
All right.
There are many ways to look at that, but let me look at it from this perspective. It's really all about what you believe your purpose should be and what your final objectives are in life. And I mean, I thought hard about it. In consulting, you have the fast track, the slow track. I was on the fast track, and I was essentially guaranteed to become partner. But something in me felt that wasn't my calling. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a CEO. And the cost of following what you believe is the dream that you should pursue is what I gave up. But everything has a cost, right? So every decision you make has a cost. And sometimes if you look at it from monetary value only, then you would interpret that risk as significant. But if you look at it from the rewards for gratification by achieving the dream that you've set yourself out to achieve, then the benefits and the rewards that are ahead of you may far outweigh that physical cost that you're giving up. And every time I've made those types of decisions, that's the way I've looked at it. And honestly, it wasn't an easy decision, but I'm glad I made it.
Thank you very much. Ken, the startup capital issue is almost like a fairy tale. I mean, everybody burst out with laughter in the room when you said 5 cities, because they were wondering whether you meant 5,000 or 5 cities as in 5 cities. But, I mean, going to pitch to the central bank with great expectations and seeing what must obviously not have looked like an opportunity with 5 cities. Tell us about that defining moment, collecting 5 cities from 5 potential retirees, how it felt.
It's a difficult thing. I mean, But and that's where I guess values and character come in. You know, fundamentally, respect for the elderly, and a genuine sense of empathy from them. Oh, I'm afraid, you know. So, and then you also deeply understanding that, you know, those jugs can be filled over and over and over again if you respect the moment. So in as much as you kind of felt sorry for yourself, you had to ask yourself that, well, what should that response be? And is it the million CDs that will allow you to put a structure together, or this may be the seed that leads to whatever? So the issue of not despising small beginnings just comes really home to you. Yeah, it was very quiet in the car going back to the office, but we set to work, because then the following week we had to meet them, and it had to be a professional meeting.
Right. Let me come to you, Salam, for your last question, and it's from Douglas Ajay. Douglas is asking, how do you take full advantage of mentoring relationships to achieve your aspirations?
So I think a lot of the time when we think of mentoring, we almost think of finding someone who has been successful by our definition of success and getting them to share with you what you should do. But, you know, mentoring is really a two-way relationship, because the people you look up to that you believe have been successful wouldn't always have the time, the passion, the interest to actually mentor you. I've had some fantastic mentors. You know, in 2009, my mentor was the CEO of Microsoft Africa, Sheikh Modibo Diarra. And, you know, he had just left South Africa and went to Burkina Faso to start a farm. And he invited me to his farm, and he was just sharing me his vision for life, which was to be able to provide food for his fellow Burkinabés. And I was just impressed with the way he thought about agriculture, his vision for agriculture impacting lives in Africa, and the meaning of agriculture for people like us who are professionals and have had a certain type of training, because we tend to look down on things like agriculture. But at the end of the day, that's the fundamental element to our subsistence and our living. So I left with a very different perspective. And my second mentor, who was a guy in Kenya, who's now the CEO of Telecom Kenya, a guy called Mugo Kibati, he, you know, I went to see him in Nairobi, and one of the things he told me was Kenya had this whole plan to bring back people to Africa to try to jumpstart economic growth by Africans themselves. And that was my inspiration to come back home. So a lot of my decision making has been influenced by listening to these mentors, but these were not people that necessarily, there were people who were interested in me. There were people who spent the time, who could give me the time I needed. I've also had mentors who are not necessarily successful from, you know, CEO of Microsoft Africa type level, but they've been very successful in making the right decisions throughout their career. And a lot of those discussions have been mentoring discussions, but we wouldn't define them as such. So basically, my message to young people are, find people who have time for you, who are genuinely interested in your development and your success, and who are passionate enough to share the truth with you. And you will be amazed at how many people around you can be mentors that we don't even think about, because we're looking at, you know, CEO titles and things like that. But many people can be your mentors who can help you along the journey. And I've benefited a lot from some of those myself.
Thank you very much. Let me give the final word to Ken, and it's a question from Dr. Miles. He says, you've been traveling around the country, obviously pursuing what you call your first love. What will be your message to young people as we wrap up on today's convocation? Look into their eyes and tell them, what is it you want them to hear as you challenge them to become the best that they can be?
I think really is to say that if Ken can be standing here as finance minister, All of us can. And that may be in the entrepreneurial world, that may be in government and whatever. Because it's not a straight story. Difficulties, there are challenges, etc. And then you also have a commitment from us who understand this walk and thinking deeply about the resolution about that. But sticking to your convictions, knowing there will be failure, you get up, dust yourself up, and move to it. And really don't be wrongfully yoked, you know. Don't go with people who are negative, mediocrity, etc. But have that firm character of values, a conviction that the change can occur, that within you is the power to do that. And certainly I believe there will be success. There will be success there. And it's also about thinking about, you know, what you are bringing to make the lives of other people better. You know, that giving, passion, creating value for people to live a better life, and that would do. And to tell you that with us sitting there, the visible hand of the state is emerging to make sure that we de-risk the environment and help you to find your first love. Thank you.
A big thank you to you, Ken Ofuriatta, and to Selom Adadivo. Let's put our hands together for them as they go back to their seats. Thank you so much. Let the applause continue until they get to their seats. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you very much, Ken Ofuriatta, Selom Adadivo, for a beautiful colloquium. Just enough time to let you know that we have some winners. So the UMB Wow Moment winners are Kingsley Amakuji and Bernard Mate, as well as Nanama Bema Atapenkra. Those are the UMB
It's
Wow
important,
Moment
to
winners.
mention that Kingsley Amakuji gets to win 1,500 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
Please add that one.
Awesome. Kingsley, 1,500 Ghana cedis for you.
Exactly. Bernard
Awesome.
Mate gets to win 1,000 Ghana cedis. And then Nana Ama Bema Ata Penkra gets to win 500 Ghana cedis. Even if you didn't win, please clap for them.
Yes, indeed. If you're not winning, you are clapping. Winner of Enterprise Wow Moment is Malcolm Akba. Malcolm Akaba.
It's Malcolm on the Zoom call. Team, it's Malcolm on the Zoom call. Let's find out how he feels about winning a laptop.
All right.
Where is he?
Indeed. Okay.
So Malcolm gets to win a Zoom, a brand new laptop from the Enterprise Group.
Awesome.
And he is the winner of the Enterprise Advantage Wow Moment. He's been on the call throughout the day, just hanging out with us, learning from the various resource persons. As we wrap up, I'm going to hand over to Kafu in a minute to wrap up, but as we do, let me come around the live participants. Ken, some of the people you met in Sunyani who were so impressed with you actually traveled to Accra to come and surprise you. So here in this audience, guess what is
Obed crying.
Obed, who you mentioned, who started a business and now employs 14 people, traveled all the way from Sunyani to come and hang out with you. And then our favorite yogurt seller, who went on to have a degree and a postgraduate and is now worked with a number of organizations. Where is Michael? Oh, Michael, stand up, let them see you. Why don't you take a picture with them, Ken? It's just historic to see people who have broken through from very difficult odds. Obed and Michael, take a picture with the Honorable Minister. It'll be a beautiful picture for. Let's do it. Let's do it for. Oh, please appreciate these young people. Amazing stories of resilience and strength. So Obed has built a printing business in Sunyani. He says Accra is not where the action is. The action is in Sunyani. And he gets business from Accra and works from Sunyani. And then Michael has built a beautiful career. Oh, Minister gives them his call card. And wow, it's amazing. So Obed, we'll spend some time with Minister after the closing, just hanging out with him and then finding out from him what it takes to be finance minister. Let's give a minute to Miles. Tell me what you're picking away from this interaction. We've had a great time. 30 seconds. Kafi, do I have 30 seconds?
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. Miles, Your one big takeout.
I've taken another inspiration. Keep doing it, never give up. Oh, I'm taking.
Keep doing it, never give up. Let me ask you your one big takeout from today's program.
I am very inspired by Selom's presentation. I like the fact that how the way that he presented his own life story, using the mentors, the people that have mentored him and inspired him in his life. I've taken it away a lot from him. And I'm going to also write
your memoirs, and when you do, Springboard will come and launch them. All right, let me come to you and find out from you. One takeout. 10 seconds.
What I've taken today is that whenever there is something that you want to do, you should desire to do it, and there is no stopping to it.
Wonderful. How does it feel to be in a book that is going to go around the world? You are trusting that every final year student in entrepreneurship will get this book and they'll read about your life story. How does it feel to be in the court hills?
It feels great, and it's so insightful to be part of it.
Don't worry, you didn't get to take a picture with the finance minister, but trust me, when they close, he's going to spend some time with you and ask him very difficult questions. All right, Kafi, over to you to take us home.
Albert, thanks a lot. Just to announce the winners of the MTN Wow Moment, we have two of them here. So they are Douglas Kwame Ajay and Jessica Akanja. If you're not winning, at least you are clapping for them. Please clap for them. Thank you very much. And just enough time to tell you, I want to say thanks to all our sponsors who made this happen: MTN Pulse, Enterprise, UMB, Graphic, and all of you who followed us on Joy 99.7, Joy Prime, myjoyonline.com, YFM in Accra, Kumasi, Takrady, on the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Information's social media handles, on Springboard's YouTube and Facebook platforms, our hashtag Springboard 2021, which was even trending at #1 before we even started, and hashtag the big one. Brings us to the end of this very special event, Springboard 2021 Roadshow, the virtual convocation. Thank you so much for being part of this wonderful occasion. Thanks to all our sponsors and our partners, all of you who've followed us from everywhere, from Tamale, from Sunyani, from all around the country, all across the globe. And we want to say thank you, thank you. I'm seeing messages from Mensa Kofi. Good morning, Ghana. Greetings from Germany, Hamburg, watching live. Thank you so much from KIA, Accra, Ghana, from all around. I'm seeing so many messages still coming in. You can continue the conversation on Facebook, on YouTube. My name is Kafui Day. It's been a pleasure to have been your moderator for this event. And good day. God bless.
Thank you so much for having us at this year's Springboard Roadshow. Kwampa is really grateful. We give you two more songs. The first one by Osibisa, and then the second one, enjoy that surprise. Ireba, 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 ireba. We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know within city back, we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard. It will be hard, we know. And the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard. It will be hard, we know. And the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy. how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard. Hey. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know. Iwaya, 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 Waya, Iwaya, Iwaya, Waya, Iwaya, Iwaya, Waya, Iwaya, Iwaya, Waya, Iwaya, Iwaya. Listen to this one. Oh my woman, oh my man, yeni baby ako, what's I as I warning. Wosom onyinipa yewa depa wofioye yamo yebere no be ya ife yanara o man ye me man o man ye woman yeni baby ako wacha ya za ye warenyi wosom onyinipa yewa depa wofioye yamo yebere no be ya ife yanara. Oh my baby, every yanara, Wampa. Oh my baby, every yanara, eh. Oh my baby, every yanara, eh. Yeah, my every ray, no baby, every. Oh my baby, every yanara, Wampe. Oh my baby, every yanara, Springboard. Oh my baby, every yanara, yeah, my every day, so be every yanara. Oh my baby, every yanara, oh, I sit in a baby, every yanara, oh, Quampe. Oh my baby, every yanara, yeah, my every day, no be every yanara. Oh my baby, every yanara, yeah, my every no be every oh my baby, every yanara, Quampe. Oh my baby, every yanara, every oh my baby, every yanara, yeah, my every no be every yanara. Thank you.